Hey guys, welcome to week 2 of Anatomy and Physiology. Last week we focused on functions of the heart and then we went into the respiratory system and then we transitioned into the circulatory system. So you guys should have a good handle on what that's about now. Just remembering that the heart and circulatory system's role in the body is to pump oxygenated blood around it through the arteries, and then its role is to, when our muscles create the carbon dioxide, is to get rid of that waste product via the veins, and then that's re-pumped through the heart and breathed out. So the carbon dioxide is breathed out. Just remember that we just also looked at short and long-term responses to exercise, and generally short-term responses to exercise were that we weren't as fit, or we just started exercise, so our heart rate would increase, meaning that our blood pressure would increase because we've got to pump more oxygenated blood around the body. Our stroke volume would increase because we've got to pump volumes of blood around the body. The breathing rate, obviously, got to breathe in more oxygen to keep up with the demand of the exercise, and then we need to breathe it out to get rid of the carbon dioxide which was created by the muscles. Also, finally, just remembering that our heart is a muscle and it'll increase in cross-sectional size, or the muscle, like any other muscle, increase when it's been worked very hard or is fatigued. Okay, so this week we're going to cover energy systems, and it's really important that you have a good grip on energy systems because on Friday you're going to do your first video, and I've put actually in the link to week 2 of the flipped learning what exactly you'll need to know for this week's video, what's going to be part of it. So what I want to talk about today is the energy systems, and there is another video explaining this in your weekly task this week. So basically, just for a start, the body uses 3 energy systems when moving or doing any form of physical activity. The use of each energy system is dependent on the duration and intensity of the activity being performed. Low intensity activity, or I would actually say more moderate to high intensity, is the aerobic system. High intensity activity at the higher end of this is more aligned on the anaerobic system, so that's not using oxygen. And our muscles are powered by ATP, so that's the energy store in the body. APT is stored in our muscles until we need to use it. It gives us energy and power for a few seconds of exercise. So these are the 3 energy systems here. We've got ATP-CP, which is in a longer format is known as adenosine triphosphate, creatine phosphagen. And you might have some previous knowledge on creatine being involved with lifting weights. People take creatine supplements to hopefully boost their creatine stores so they can get more potential lifts at a high intensity. We've got the anaerobic system, which is another one of our very high intensity systems, and the aerobic system. But like I said last week, we want to think of energy systems as like a pie graph, and depending on the level of intensity, one energy system will be in a higher demand than the other. They don't work in isolation, they work together, but depending on the level of exercise intensity will determine which system is more dominant, and obviously the duration. So ATP-CP is formed within the energy released from food and stored in cells, particularly muscles. CP stored in muscles helps with the manufacture of ATP. You don't have to worry too much about this, you just need to recognize that it's a very explosive system. ATP-CP in action during the first 5 seconds of exercise, the ATP-CP is relied on mostly by itself. ATP only lasts a few seconds. CP then starts to replace the ATP until they are all ran out. This lasts approximately 5 to 8 seconds. So a good test to see how long your ATP-CP system would last for will be doing something like a maximal jump and how many times, say, you jumped up onto the platform, and you'd actually find that you might only be able to do this 3 or 4 or 5 times before you get tired. I'm talking at a very high intensity, one after another. Combined together with ATP-CP, it can be used for an exercise of up to 1 to 10 seconds. So when we're thinking of sporting examples of this, we could think of sprinting, jumping, elements of sports like kicking a football or certain techniques in a number of different sports. But basically that really explosive stuff. If exercise continues beyond this point, the body must rely on another energy system to produce. So that's if you're going at a high intensity for longer than intensity, I'm talking about a really high intensity, generally the anaerobic system will kick in. Sorry about that, the anaerobic system. So the anaerobic lactic acid system, some people call this glycolysis. I'm quite happy if you call it the lactic acid system, anaerobic system, I'll know what you mean. So this is without oxygen. Once the CP stores have been used, your body starts to use the lactic acid system. This is generally used in exercise that require 85% plus intensity or a high intensity stop-start sports, e.g. rugby, basketball, hockey. Glucose breaks down, which causes the muscles to tire quickly, i.e. become fatigued. Okay. The lactic acid system starts to increase rapidly after the initial 10 seconds of exercise lasting up to 2 minutes. And generally, you'll have to lower your intensity. Well, not generally, you will have to lower your intensity because if you don't, you'll get lactic acidosis in the muscles. This system uses carbohydrates only in its energy source, for its only energy source, okay? And the waste product is lactic acid. The aerobic system, after about 2 minutes, the aerobic system is the main source of energy. The aerobic system uses proteins, fats, and carbohydrates to replace ATP. The system produces ATP in large amounts and is the prime energy source during endurance activity. So if you're thinking like the cross country, the predominant system used for the duration of that, because that might take you 20 minutes, 30 minutes if you're running, or even if you're walking, is going to be the aerobic system. The system produces ATP in large amounts and is the prime energy source during endurance activities. The aerobic system uses oxygen to burn carbohydrates during long duration, medium intensity activity. So I say 65 to 85%. I'm happy with 60 to 85%. It really depends at the level of intensity that you're running at. And just a reminder that these percentages are relative to percentage of your VO2 max. Oxygen is used to help remove lactic acid in the muscles. This system produces carbon dioxide, so that's why we breathe out CO2. That's what our muscles create. So here's a really important graph to understand, and this is the three energy systems in the ATP store. So we can see the ATP energy gives you huge amounts, but it dives really quickly. But the three that I want to really look at is the ATP PC system, which it goes up. It's very, very explosive, and it peaks at about 6 or 7 seconds, and it starts to decline when we get up to about 10. The lactic acid system, if we have a look at that one, it's the grey line, so it goes up and it peaks, kind of 30 to 45 seconds, and then it starts to decline at sort of the minute and a half mark. And these are all dependent on levels of fitness and how hard you're prepared to push yourself, obviously. It's not saying that one size fits all, but we're going to use these generalized sections to explain the time that these energy systems last for. The aerobic system, as you can see, is the blue line at the bottom, and it starts off at a very low intensity in terms of the percentage of the maximum energy production, but you can maintain it for a very, very long time, as long as you've got the fitness levels and you've got the energy being reproduced. Okay, so here's really important. This is the thing that we filled out today, this table in class, and it's basically got 3 energy systems: the need of oxygen or no oxygen, the time frame that it lasts for, and here's some key examples of sports that you may use. They don't have to be Olympic sports. You could use a team sport and use 3 examples in football, rugby, basketball, and include that in your video. But as long as you can clearly identify some of the key points here. What energy systems are most predominant in the following activities? You can ask that for yourself. What I really want you to look at though this week is the percentage heart rate max, which is really important. I'm going to put up another short video which is going to explain what your tasks are for this week. Thank you very much, and we'll look forward to another week. Cheers.